Welcome everyone. Rilus Dana here, attorney from Rilus Law, formerly Dana and Associates, still Dana and Associates, but we're using the name Rilus Law, just to clarify. Today we're going to be talking about it's been our most popular video subject, or most popular video on the YouTube channel. This is about Dynasty Trust. So great topic today. We're talking about Dynasty Trust, so a little bit more advanced. So today going to go kind of quick, keep it kind of advanced, but still we'll still keep it at a basic level. But we're going to be talking about advanced estate planning strategies, specifically the Dynasty Trust. So let me share my screen here. We can get into it. So this is where I practice law, Arizona and California. If you're watching live or on the replay, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try to get to it today if we can, or I'll come back later on the review and get to it. Okay, so subtrust. This is the trust that your trust creates. So we're talking about what happens after you pass away, or after the trust creators pass away. So common examples of a subtrust, probably the most common thing is just an age trust. Hold it until the beneficiaries reach a certain age. That's what this is showing here. There could also be a special needs trust or supplemental needs trust. This is for a beneficiary who's receiving benefits like needs-based benefits, and receiving money could actually disrupt their benefits. So that's what a special needs trust does. Dynasty Trust, that's the focus of today. This is technically a tax tool, a strategy for avoiding or reducing the estate tax, but it also has some nice asset protection benefits. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Education trust, another type of subtrust, or pet trust. You can give it all to your pets. All right, let's hit some tax basics. So you got the income tax, like you earn income from your job. You report that on your income tax return and pay taxes according to your rate. Now, if you make a gift, the person making the gift, they may have to report this gift. Now, there's the gift tax that makes you a gift, and then there's also the estate tax. So the estate tax and gift tax are very similar. They work kind of together. So a gift is when someone gives you something while alive, and the estate tax is when you receive something after someone's passed away. All right, annual exclusion. What this is how much of a gift you can make without reporting it. If you make a gift larger than $15,000 in 2021, the numbers have gone up, but just kind of talking about the idea. But if you make a gift larger than that annual exclusion, you have to report that gift on a gift tax return. So $10,000, that's fine. But a gift of $1,015,000, this example here. So for that example, that would subtract $9 million from the exemption, or it would subtract $1 million from the estate tax exemption. By making the gift during his life, the gift tax return is filed, and the exemption left at death is reduced. So that's why the estate tax and gift tax go together. So this example, if the trust had $12 million in it, and he had $9 million of exemption left because some was used during his life already, that means that an estate tax would be owed on the amount above the $9 million exemption. This is showing an example of the estate tax rate. Again, this is old. This is from 2021, but just to give you an idea. So if the estate tax does affect you, it's a pretty big tax. Okay, so Dynasty Trust. So let's get into the Dynasty Trust. So that estate tax, that's important because that's how these Dynasty Trusts were created. These Dynasty Trusts are a tool to reduce the estate tax. Now, there's a nice coincidence, though, that it also gives the beneficiaries more protection. If you receive an inheritance in your name individually, and you get into a car accident and get sued, or there's any type of liability, that money is at risk to those creditors. Now, if money is held inside of a trust, there can be more protection. So people often ask me, what type of trust is the best? And my answer to that is you want a dynasty trust that someone else creates for you. So this example, here's the trustee over here in the green hat, red shirt. Now, the terms of the dynasty trust, we often do it to eventually let the kids manage it themselves, to become their own trustee at a certain age, usually age of 35. Now, the distributions out of the dynasty trust are at the trustee discretion. They have the power to choose the beneficiaries, which is called a power of appointment. Sometimes we call that the power of disappointment. That's the attorney joke. It's kind of like a dad joke. Now, the beauty of this dynasty trust is it's outside of the estate. Now, what that means, it means a couple things. One of the things that it means is that this money inside of this dynasty trust is not subject to the estate tax again. So if Junior here inherits, let's say he inherits $5 million in his dynasty trust, and during his lifetime he grows it to $100 million. Whatever it grows to, this is going to pass outside of the estate tax system. So it's already cleared the estate tax on the way in, and the growth is not subject to the estate tax again. Now, the nice coincidence that we're after, there's very few people that actually have estate tax problems in today's in today's world. What I mean by that is a married couple, they each have an exemption of over $12 million. That means that they can pass $25 million without any extra or more advanced estate planning. So that's with the exemption at the $10 million adjusted for inflation. It is scheduled to go down in 2026, back down to $5 million, but that's still $5 million for husband and wife. So families will still be able to protect $10 million pretty easily if that does happen. Okay, so this dynasty trust estate tax tool is how it started. Now, the nice coincidence, though, is that the asset protection is what we're after. So if they receive their inheritance inside this dynasty trust, they can decide to buy a house with it. They're flexible, especially because they're their own trustee. They only have to convince themselves what to do with the money. They just want to keep it inside of the trust. So if they want to buy a house, have the dynasty trust buy the house so that house itself is protected. If they want to buy an investment property, again, have it be owned by the trust. And you could also add a layer of LLC around that to get a little bit more protection. So the beneficiary is still free to use the assets inside the trust how they want, as opposed to if they have things in their name individually, it's subject to the estate tax when they die. But also what that means, if there's any type of liability, like they get into a car accident and someone gets hurt, then those assets are at risk versus the assets in the dynasty trust are protected. All right, so here's an example. This is how it would work if there was 3 kids that were all going to receive a dynasty trust, ages 33, 21, and 18. So their share of the trust would go into their own dynasty trust. The trustee would manage it for them until they turn 35. So a separate trust created for each one of them, separate account, separate investments. Now, as they get older and turn 35, then they'll take over their own trust. So they'll become the trustee of their trust. As opposed to an age trust, once the beneficiaries reach the age, they receive all of their share directly, outside of trust, with no protection. Okay, so all right, so that's it. That's the main things I wanted to cover with Dynasty Trust. They're a great tool. They're not just for the rich and the famous. Let me stop sharing. There we go. Yeah, they're not just for the uber wealthy. I start to recommend these, or at least ask the question whenever I see a single beneficiary that stands to inherit more than $500,000. That's kind of my mark of there could be lasting money. If there's going to be money lasting, below that amount, it's probably not worth it because they might pay off a house and have student loans to pay off and other things that will absorb most of the inheritance. But if there's going to be a lasting chunk of money, it's a good idea to put some protection on it. A couple weeks ago, we did a video about community property and prenups. Now, a good point of the Dynasty Trust, a lot of parents will do the Dynasty Trust because they're concerned when their child receives their inheritance, they'll end up mixing it with their spouse. And then if that relationship ends, they'll lose half of their inheritance to their spouse. If they just keep their inheritance, without a Dynasty Trust, an inheritance is separate property, but you have to keep it separate. You have to keep it in a separate bank account and always keep it in your name individually. A Dynasty Trust is a nice way just to make sure that happens. And then you can blame it on your parents. You can say, of course I trust you, honey. Of course I would mix all of this with you, but that's just the way my parents set it up. It's in this trust, and this trust protects from future taxes and any potential creditors, which is all true. As opposed to just getting an inheritance without a Dynasty Trust, if you have it in a separate account, it's only protected in the event of divorce. It does not give the beneficiary any type of protection if they got into a car accident or had any other type of liability, or doesn't protect them from the estate taxes either. So if you're doing your own planning, or if you're encouraging mom and dad to do their planning, this is definitely something they should add. Happy to help you. If you're in Arizona and California, you can reach out to us and come see me to set up your own plan with the Dynasty Trust. You can start the legacy. I've helped families. I've seen a lot of families in the third and fourth generations of these trusts. So it's pretty cool. It's cool to see how one generation will pay it forward, down to the grandkids, and then they tend to keep repeating that, where it sets everyone up in life. I've seen these families where they're able to go to college and become doctors or lawyers without incurring any type of debt, and have a house paid for with, again, incurring any type of debt, and it just really sets them up in life. And then therefore they're able to continue that tradition down the line for their kids and grandkids. So cool stuff. Hope you found it helpful. We'll see you next time.